Hello, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at one of my season games from Poly Champions League. I recently rejoined the league and am playing for the House of Vikings. This is a match between the Team Vikings versus Pups, which is Arctic Wolves, one of the dominant houses at the moment. Their bottom team, team number 3. So my team consists of me. I'm Luxador in the west. My teammate Muffle in the south, and then the two pups, Umanji and Chinchi. We're gonna start off by just looking at this map. So my teammate is starting. We can see that there's these two coastal waters there and another one there, potentially meaning there's villages on these tiles, as on Pangea, which is this map type. There's often little island cities around the edge, so something of consideration for us. Also note we're on the teams start on the same sides. Those usually indicate easier Diplo rushes, which is one of the metas in team games, which is how this is formatted. Also note, it's going to be a very uphill battle for our opponents, as the tribe compositions aren't great for them. They have their Chin, which is going into our Hoodrick, and Shinji is not a very good tribe into Hoodrick, as Hoodrick has archers and catapults. That's their primary unit composition, along with giants, into Chinchi's swordsmen and giants, which is typical Chin composite unit comp, which gets easily countered by archers and catapults. And then for Umanji, it's not as bad, but it's still not great. Luxador typically rushes giant with pretty easy resources to rush giant with. So the typical unit comp for Umanji doesn't do as well into Luxador's primary giant unit comp, but it's not that bad and can still be winnable. Let's start off with everyone's openings, pretty standard. Everyone going to center, except for me. I determined that there is not any good resource indicators towards the center, so I determined it's better to just go around the edge and get a village faster. My teammate also determines not to go for the center village, but that's specifically because we don't want to go into the center with our archer and potentially lose our archer to Umanji, which I think we score counted and figured out that we had opposing Umanji. We didn't want our archer to get sniped by Umanji and screw us, so we brought our archer back in. Are gonna secure the village with a warrior instead, just in case. And our archer is gonna go back more safely towards another village we found. Umanji doing their typical Umanji stuff. We can see Chinchi's density isn't great. They've only found one village so far. So far they do still have their metals. I can't see with my vision, so we'll go back. They still have their ore and metal, so they can still at least upgrade their cities with one tech, but it's not great. You can also see I've only found one village as well. Manji gets an explorer, but unfortunately for them, they didn't shape it, and the explorer went backwards. though this is an older version, so explorers are much stronger still. So the explorer does end up meeting my teammate. Chin also gets an explorer, which this time is much better. Goes straight to me, and then straight to my teammate, which gives them pretty good vision on us. We'll take off shared fog. So between the both of them, they have pretty good vision on us. But if you look, I did just meet Manji, but I had no idea his rider was there. Also, we were intending to get roads here, as we didn't know if Manji might have had another rider nearby to knock me off this ruin, in which case we would want 2 units to knock them back off the ruin. So we intended to get roads to road our rider through and take this ruin back just in case, but I misplayed and accidentally got fishing. Hudrick doing normal Hudrick things, getting chopped, such. We can explore too, but just like the Manjis, ours just goes right back around into me, which reveals almost nothing besides this village. Which isn't great, but something at least. Manji's now met everybody. They got Pop Ruin and farming. They're doing pretty well. Chin getting mining, physical Chin stuff. I get a resource run, which is pretty big. I believe we calculated how I could get a giant from here. I think next turn through meeting stars. Something of note, that's kind of a misplay I think, is if we can see, their ally has vision on my rider. So they can clearly see I can knock them off that village. But they still decide to go for it with a low health rider. I get my giant. Also note, nice thing about these team games is just, yeah, like I mentioned earlier with the Chin, could have seen the rider and prevented walking onto a city and giving me a free kill. So we'll see. But Hodrick, because they have vision, they also can see that there's the rider there, even though I can't. Actually, yeah, they can see the rider there, even though I can't. So that's why I go for the rider. Get the kill, move my rider back to protect the village still, since we know I can't claim it. Manji getting a bunch of riders, which is a little scary considering that they have more units than I do. I go strategy since riders don't do very well into strategy, and I want to maybe sneak and get that ruin. And also, we're also going to go for diplomacy, as I mentioned earlier. Diplomacy is very strong in the current meta of team games. We finally meet Chin. And we get my teammate gets a giant. Manji going up, King Vision on that city. I'm advancing up to try and take this city with my giant, since they can't easily force my giant, or easily kill my giant with riders. I send my teammate peace treaty so we can get ready for diplomacy here shortly. they didn't go for it. I also sent an embassy, increasing our income. My teammate got on the water so that way he can claim these backwater cities. We also get another giant. Unfortunately for Wanji, they get Explorer Ruin, which doesn't offer much, but they do manage to save enough stars for diplomacy. Though, notably, Chin didn't have great resources or forge spots without at least border growth to get a giant, so we're currently 3 to their 0 giants, which is not great for them. I believe I got Farm and Ruin, which is alright. Let me get some city upgrades. I step on the city. My teammate gets sailing so we can get to that city faster. We get a catapult to deny any units on the city and just to secure it, even more so than just sending a giant towards it. Sorry. And they resign. It's a little anticlimactic, but if we want to see, we got 2 giants advancing on their lack of giants. They're gonna get their first giant on turn 10 as Chinchi, which is pretty slow. If I dare say, really slow for Chinchi on team games. Chin is typically one of the notorious fast giant tribes. But yeah, once they lose this city, because there's no way to protect it, it's gonna be it's gonna be 6 cities, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cities. So we're gonna have nearly double the cities. We'll have a full double if I went and got this village, but we didn't know about it. That city is just useless, and yeah, we kind of spawn and tribe diffed our opponents here. Our composition was better than theirs. And yeah, so this was my first confirmed win for me in my season, and one of the 11 wins for my team to eventually win our tier for in the league. Our opponents played alright. There were a few mistakes, I'd say, like I believe earlier. Yes, right here. I would have hit with the warrior and then killed with the rider to save HP. Since this warrior, it's better to let an archer pick it off than for a giant to get a free kill and preserve the rider HP, since the rider's gonna survive. Though in the end, it doesn't matter that much, since there was not much our opponents could do. Their Chinchi kind of got ruined by the lack of villages, terrible forge spots, and also that earlier misplay of just giving me free units. So yeah, that's one of my season games. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this, learned anything. I have other season games that I'm looking to review probably that went much longer than 10 turns. Yeah, they resigned on like turn 10. So yeah, this was a very short season game. But I've got other season games that went much longer, much more complex, and closer fighting. Let me know if you guys want to see those games. I've got 2 others. And I believe I'm also going to try and do some more perfection runs. I've learned some new strategies for some really high uh, scores. If anyone's been looking at perfection recently, you might have seen my main mobile account reach over 200,000. There's a strategy I learned with Simanti. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. And have a good one.